Alright, that's someone. This is the last hang on to Losaviki. That Lobsang Dorje goes to Gorwa.
First of all, lovely to see everyone again, see all my Dharma friends again, and now we're at the start of our new year together.
Now the new Losava Leo, Chidanchine, Losava Shili, Missile Mason of Lodge or Shia Mason, tiny or and Anzugi, the Losa Leo, the Losava City, and Dendreci or Dendreci or Dendreci or Losa Sandilla on the Gauchi or when is in a logic order, you call Shia tiny legal, just I go here tiny lose simply or Sabla, now to Losava is in a Gauchi, the order, Chigorwa.
Now, at the start of a new year, well, this can be looked at in different ways. Because on one hand, with the passage of time, we can say we've come closer, a year closer to the end of this life. Another way, though, one can look at this same marking of time is in the way that we do with family. When there's a new year, we celebrate and we rejoice with our family. So it can be looked in both of these ways.
Anzuki Losaba, the Dendreci, and the Nambigi Shuni, the Chiksona, and the Dendreci, the Kimze, Karelabna, Tanzo Losaba, Losaba, the Dugulo in the Saba, and the Chiki, Karana, Yawara, Sanchi, Sembina, Chiklu, Jura, Sugurova, Di Garutungoresene, learning biggie, to learning Babaja, Saba Kumana, Shenda, Losaba said, Yamage, some long and bad, a penicim, Tiki Pasha, that's Losaba Ledu, Losaba Leva Nashing, and to get Semba Sambochia, and the Simbi Sancho is somebody, Yarget Diare. Learning big, learning what sort of Anashi, Yamage, some lotus, Marumba, and some do di Pang, Meva Search, and some Losaba, some Sambo Pimpi Sim, and the Kiwi Jawa, some Dikunodi, somebody that during the Losava, Snatch, some Losava, the Yaket Tangi Sembi, Undusine, some time doing to get Tajik, then a simple Sambochia, and you will get on Dala Guya, so soon as soon as go Gorova, the names of the Losavalia, Govucha, the Jumzero Tichagore.
In the Tibetan culture, at Lhasa, we always celebrate with family and friends and loved ones. And we celebrate through eating delicious food together and wearing new clothing. So the reason to celebrate and to celebrate in this kind of way is to show that now a new year started. That a previous year, that chapter is now concluded, and now a new year is starting. And with all the problems and difficulties of last year, they are now behind me. All the negative traits I may have displayed last year, those habit patterns, they're behind me. I'm going to turn away from them. With this new year, I will turn over a new leaf, and in this new year, I will embrace virtue. I'll ensure my mind stays in the direction of virtue. And so with such a positive outlook, one celebrates with one's friends, wears new clothing, eats delicious food, having turned over a new leaf, and a commitment to a positive, virtuous year ahead of oneself. And so in this way, when one celebrates it with this joyous attitude, knowing that one has the difficulties of the previous year are behind one, any negative habit patterns one has, one is going to commit to not coming under the influence, but rather to cultivate ever stronger virtuous habit patterns, the mind immediately becomes joyful and happy. And we celebrate this joyful start to the year with those that we are near and dear with.
Lam Rim Text, Gyatso Sim Nyamnenjea, the net on you or Nyamnenjea, Yamam, which Hawaii, the Dilo Sava Dilia, Jahara, Bemasi, Denigi, no Kohop Jahara, Bemasi, Yahore, Samje, on the Govichea, and Losava Dine Sunja, and Chick. Nyamnedia, watching Besu chickens and Tunduria, Mason, Duba, Duba, Shuchakia, Undustin, some Tanganzina, Chia Cobra, Bemas, Yapore, some Jidang, my name, 두신의 시에라가 라와도 아주 삼능아 차상 두신의 고합라도 배면 약불에 사야다 아주 차상 되니게 삼다제 아니 사야도 고부차이 고부치고야디 나 юм제로 시티네 지나간 주 다들이 아직아주 로사비 롭정지야를 고합이라와 배마서 약불에 삼지 안 전주를 마서나 아니 지고치 장이 인생비가 아주 삼다데 예치모샤거와 안디안 semjen tamjege donda sanji ko ba thoyalya ane bezu chimbo chigi yin sembege denegi ko khobra de bemasa ya bu yin samjan gawa ko medere da tangbo
I want to share with you the way that I'm approaching our New Year celebration together. And I'll share this with you, and if you take inspiration, then do join me in thinking, firstly, a reflection on the 4 years that we've had together here. So for 4 years on our Wednesday night, we've been looking at Lam Rim topics. So we've looked at the wide variety of ways which are encapsulated in the Lam Rim tradition to accumulate virtue, to strengthen our virtuous ways of thinking, and to weaken and turn away from our non-virtuous or harmful ways of thinking. And in particular within this, we've looked at what is the meaning of bodhicitta and how to cultivate it. We've spoken a lot about emptiness and how to cultivate the wisdom realizing emptiness. So in these 4 years of Wednesday night talks together, we've covered the entire graduated path to enlightenment. And this is something to rejoice in. And moreover, we are here again, now starting our 5th year together. So this is, when you look back, as well as now looking forward to the year ahead, this should bring great joy to us. Because if we, through generating joy, we generate enthusiasm for these opportunities that we have. We appreciate them ever more. And in particular, in this context that we come together for, we generate joy about the possibility we have to continue our spiritual development, the possibility that we have achieved through the cultivation of the appropriate causes, to develop these virtuous minds within us ever more so. And moreover, through these Lam Rim classes, we should remind ourselves now of our base motivation, our primary motivation for being here, and that is to develop ourselves spiritually so we can be of ever greater benefit to others. And in particular, so that we can come ever closer to the achievement of enlightenment for the sake of others. So I hope you join me now at the start of our new year in generating great joy in what we have done together and what lies before us.
Denmark Combalia and the Sarah shop in the then Gandan Bajo, Penny Chick Zehor, and Jeremiah Combo to Lord to Yaku, the Wardan, Yaram Chick Sunshia, and Gandan to Lena Sarah Shavani, the others than a party, and those then by Sunshia, and to Le Sarah Lero, and the Javakas in the Churan Terrason, and the Kizzy and Sarah and the Jadurumuchi Page, and Demre Sangi, and the Lungdang Wang Nangdu, and the kissing go to Sassi. Zan Subermuche, Penny Pesha, Wang Sugar, Long Sugar Pesha, Zan Jubber Suberum Chigaja, and Jigaras on the Dusine, and the Mandu de Cheso, Chasang, Lonyama to Slopjon to get that into Dusia, which you and Cheso Mishazan, and the Wuda, and Yermuchi got to Chang to Chasan. Hurdapata to Chig, Chasan Timbo years in the Mchelton, yes, I share Rason and Yahushu Johnson.
It's been 2 months since we last sat here together, and in that period I've been the entire time in India. I arrived in Sera and for a couple of days, and then I went to Gandan and Drepung, where His Holiness was giving teachings and an initiation, and overseeing various conferences, all in celebration of the 600th anniversary for Lama Tsongkhapa. So I was able to be there for that entire period, and thereafter I went up to Bodh Gaya, where His Holiness gave a number of teachings and initiations. And after that I was able to return to Sera for about a month or so before coming here. So I had a wonderful opportunity there to accumulate a virtue and to be in the presence of holy beings. And now, just before I left Sera, Gyatso Rinpoche was going to start giving a oral transmission of a text on Hayagriva. And in order to receive that, Lama Zopa Rinpoche also came to Sera. So I therefore had the great opportunity to spend some time with Lama Zopa, and I was able to tell him about all that's happening at our Dharma Center and all the activities here, as well as all that is being achieved. And he expressed great joy in the situation as it is right now in our Dharma Center.
Digi Trubia da Dunga Sayadi, Chugi Yamne Sayadi, Sosorangi, Tatine Rapta, Mahombi, Ganga, Dunga Sayada, Koa, Koyu Dunga Tajasaya. And then Ramaze, Shen Semjan Tamji, Koyu Dunga Sene, and Tarbata Tamji Kimiko Toyagi, Rajan Sama, and Tarbat Tamji Kimiko Toyagi, Dondala, Manzuchu Yamne Sayadi, Digor, and Dunga Ganas Yungore, Garichin Dunga Yungore, Dunga Sealaya, Talam Karchigore said, that choice in the Digo Shigor watches that Dunga did it in the Yungore, Digu did it in the Yungore, Dudi Meva Sela, some of the nation Tangure, did Tama din Yamlan Chabana, and Tarva said Togure, and Tamjikimiko Togure said, Digor She Janzugidi, Yamlan Jadi, Digo Shigor watches that answer at Kissingyaman that didn't march it in my Dusri.
Now it's time to turn to the text, because it's to hear about the precious meaning of the Dharma that we've all gathered again together tonight. And just to remind ourselves then of our motivation. We all came together here tonight because we all only want to experience happiness. None of us wants to suffer in any way. We all want to be freed of problems and difficulties. And that is the motivation behind all our activities, and certainly is why we've come here together tonight. And the very skillful methods to achieve that, to achieve lasting happiness and to be freed completely from suffering, that is the meaning of the Dharma. So if we think of what is the meaning of Dharma, what does Dharma mean, or what is Dharma practice? So the teachings on Dharma are the presentation on the various skillful methods to cultivate a state of lasting, stable happiness, and to achieve a state completely freed of suffering, liberated from suffering. And Dharma practice is the gaining familiarity with, gaining experience of those methods, those techniques. And the final goal of the Dharma practice is to achieve Buddhahood, to achieve enlightenment through the means of attaining liberation from suffering in its entirety, and continuing one's spiritual endeavors so that one can become an ever more skillful guide, so that one can lead others to achieve their own enlightenment. So in the smaller way of looking at it, we've come together here to gain a greater understanding of the Dharma, so that we can achieve happiness from lifetime to lifetime. But with a particular goal, though, of achieving the lasting, stable happiness of liberation, the happiness that is achieved when one attains liberation from suffering. And thereafter, continuing one's cultivation of virtue until one eventually achieves enlightenment for the sake of others. So that's why we're here, and that's the motivation to once again remind ourselves of.
Lam Rim Text Chasangi Kuno Sumasuna Semjet Sanju Kuba to be sure to yin Sempe Kuno and Jaju Semju Kunela Kuno some Dushin Tatambo Tiling to Lochi Tambo Kozu and Tambani to Tisene Kuno to care the Gage Machagorova.
This motivation of achieving enlightenment for the sake of others is something that we cultivate at the start of every class, hence the recitation of those prayers. They serve to set our motivation. And tonight, it's of particular importance that this is done well because it's the start of our new year together. So as we continue with the class, ensure that your motivation of being here for the sake of others, strengthening this mind of bodhicitta so that in all our subsequent activities, the benefit of others is always at the forefront of our mind.
Dunga se ki tablam di dunga se ki tablam di gyu di trubya la tangbo nga dunga di ngoche go re za dene ki di dunga dene yore se tangbo ngoche dene di se ya tablam dene che go re se kom go re se di sung go ro dene za da tangbo dunga ngoche ya ki da nga sul ma so dunga de ya kan yung go re se di ngoche ya di cha gdo.
So we hear many times about how we all want to be freed of suffering and experience only happiness. But in order to be able to have the strength of mind to apply oneself to the techniques that will lead to liberation from suffering, one has to gain an ever greater clarity of understanding of what is meant by suffering and the various ways that suffering is experienced. So first, one has to gain a strong understanding of suffering, and as one cultivates this understanding of suffering, then one's application of the methods to become free of suffering will grow ever more powerful. So therefore, we start by coming to understand suffering.
Desu tiendele tes gewar masona digi ma yobada ane gewar tuye kokap ma yoba za dendro sete nyima gyudia ane gewe gyule tene gewa za dendro so ngandro se de la nyawa ida dundro se sumde ane ngandro sum sigore de gyudia ane mikiwe gyule tene gewa lembare chazan di tiende konjuk tiende la dunga mangare ne gewa tubyala halam gombure chagore dine zanko de dendro tiensen chazan jowari ru nyawa ida dundro sumje dena ladami lama yesche dukje jowari dukje dine chigorwa.
The mass of ordinary suffering beings can be divided into different ways, and the most common division that we are aware of is suffering beings divided into 6 realms. So these 6 realms are further divided into 3 which are called happy migrations and 3 which are called suffering migrations. So all 6 realms remain bound within samsara, but those which are called happier migrations are called because more happiness is experienced there than in the 3 which they're called suffering realms. So in these 3 happy migrations of humans and gods and demigods, rebirth in these realms have come from the accumulation of virtue. So at the time of death, virtue ripens. When virtue ripens at the time of death, it propels a rebirth into a happy migration. And it's called a happy migration because relative to the lower realms, far more happiness is experienced. And the third reason that it's called a happy migration, the first being it came from a cause of virtue, virtue leads to happiness. The second reason it's called a happy migration is more happiness is experienced. And the third reason it's a happy migration is there's far more opportunity for the cultivation of the causes that lead to happiness. The other 3 realms, those are the suffering migrations, those of animals, spirits, and the hell realms. These 3 are called suffering realms because they came from a cause of non-virtue. So at the time of death, non-virtue ripened, and it ripened in a suffering migration in one of the 3 realms. And here, unlike the happier migrations, far more suffering is experienced. And then thirdly, the opportunity to cultivate virtue here is fleetingly rare. It's very difficult to cultivate virtue if one is born in these lower realms. So this is the way to understand the 6 realms of suffering beings, divided into happy and suffering realms.
통야디 미디게 통고라 미 변증아서 통통고래 Then Dundro de Dundro Mamboching as a Tungo, then Dundro Rikashin as a Guinea Tontugo, as a Toyade, Midi, Nimi Pension, Tontuya, and Dundro Rikashi Tontugo.
Of these 6 realms, those that we are familiar with are the humans and animal realms, in that we can directly perceive them. Even amongst the animals, we know that there's a vast variety of animals, many of which we have seen directly, but there are still many that we ourselves have never observed, and there are who knows how many that no human has ever seen. So even amongst the realms that we can directly perceive, we can visually perceive, there are many types of animals that are yet to be seen. They are yet to be discovered.
Dinashe, then Yawa Sada, Ida Sada, this one Zugi, then Chikmiki, Toyamara, Tontugo Marazugi.
And the other realms, such as those of the hell realms and the spirit realms, these are humans can't directly perceive. Humans don't directly see these realms. And similarly with the many types of gods, these also cannot be seen by humans.
Tuasam Jeje, Gumse some dance do Chevena, or that one Gumsen didn't in height, you said Sampada, and Gumsen some dajen, Idata, Nyawata, the so Gumsela Dine, and then you're something on Zuida, Igi should be how to a Yungorum.
The Buddha Dharma, though, does present these realms that we don't see, we don't visually perceive. The Buddha Dharma, though, also in the presentation, the Buddha Dharma gives reasons for us to reflect on so that we can mentally come to understand these realms. We can perceive them mentally in the sense that we can come, independent on reasoning, come to understand that these realms do exist, despite not being able to see them directly.
And then one she wrote to one she tobaina, and one she tone, Dajan and Laton to Yada, and the Yaji Yawabata Idata, the Negi, one she tone, Tontuba Yungore.
There are, though, amongst humans those who have developed first very powerful meditative stabilization, powerful to the extent that they've developed calm abiding, and having achieved calm abiding, they come to develop clairvoyance. So amongst those beings who have achieved clairvoyance, there are those who are able to perceive through this powerful consciousness, who are able to perceive realms that are hidden to those who have not achieved such clairvoyance.
And that didn't have a and it's one share, one share, Mevare, one share, Denia, Kimson, some Daje, and the Hada, Nyawaida, Tundroya, Yuba, Nyawaida, Yuba, Hako Matuena, and another that didn't have a black chair, and each some chair, that Karasana, Sangi, Sumare, and the Kahargi, Bandruta, Lama, the Mango, Lucian, Sumaenza, Delia, was the each and you're something each Madon.
So those, because we don't have clairvoyance and we therefore cannot perceive these realms for ourselves, then we need to rely on reasons. We need to do an analysis and rely on our reasoning to establish these realms which are unseen to us. So we need to do that, and we can also do it through through our trust and conviction in the validity of the Buddha and his teachings, as well as the many great masters, such as the Pandits from India, who have presented these realms. So based on our trust in them, that is a reason that we can have to have conviction that these unseen realms do exist.
그래서 누가 믿어 봐래 누가 믿어 봐서 누가 믿어 봐서 누가 믿어 봐서 그래 제사다 digi kunganzu chasang gugore, chasa digi goba chikba renza, digi goba za digi tu gugore, digi tu goba chikba chagore. Dini enza danganzu ki dunga midyoba chikba za, an dunga gane si yungu ore, khonzo la dunga gane yore, ta dini dunga di dini seya liya, nganganzu ki, ta si nganganzu janshu semki nyamlen che, tewa chimpi chue nyamlen che bayi na, semchen tamchi ki dunga seya gugore, dunga seya bachi ngi chigin sebeke, nganganzu ki 지게 켈린 제제 진장의 심지어 탐지기도 사죠 고바 토벌 지긴 세베게 전주쌤 냠는 제고로와 디 냠는 제발라 한 심지기 누가 간에 연구해 봐디 디네스도 하고 와지 다 하고네 세고만 한 먹어 나간 저기 세 탑시 지리 두 말봐 진짜 디네 인자 디네기 냠는 제고 인자 당보 아니 심진 매닝 아주 냐와 이다 dun주기 누가디 용어들 지 뭐 소야로 자고래
All beings, no matter where they reside within the six realms of samsara, whether they are being tormented in the hell realms or in the spirit realm or in the animal realm, or whether they're being born in the so-called happy migrations of humans or gods, all these beings, whether they are seen or unseen by us, share the wish, the heartfelt desire to experience only happiness and be freed of every form of suffering. None of these beings, not a single one, wants to suffer. So those of us, us as beings who aspire to generate the mind of bodhicitta within ourselves, we need to come to a great understanding of the situation that beings in their entirety are experiencing. Because the mind of bodhicitta has as its object all suffering sentient beings, not just those that the bodhisattva or the aspirant bodhisattva directly perceives, but all sentient beings. So therefore, the aspirant bodhisattva, as well as the bodhisattva, needs to have a very clear understanding of the varieties of suffering that beings throughout the realms of samsara are experiencing. Because if that understanding, to the extent that that understanding is lacking, the bodhisattva will struggle to develop skillful means by which to help suffering sentient beings. So therefore, as aspirant bodhisattvas, it's imperative that we come to a clear understanding of the actual suffering experiences that torment beings throughout samsara.
Nesuro Chagowena, so Mahomba, so Dele Magiaki, that in Mahazula Tafishia, Gohab Yovaenza, Dele Magiaki, that in Gohab Tafishia, and Shen, Semjan Tamji, Semjan to get Dele Magiaki, Hansuki Tufshin, Consolina, Shen Semjan, Tarayaki Tufshiaki, Gohabji, that in Hansu, Gohab Yudu, and the Gohab, the Bishu, Gohab Lingo by Inza, then Hansuki Didandala, that. As
we come to understand with more clarity the suffering that beings are experiencing in the lower realms of the hells, the spirits and animals, this serves a number of purposes. First of all, recalling the sequence of trainings in the Lam Rim that we've gone through thus far, we've come to a clear understanding of the preciousness of this opportunity that we've achieved. Knowing and then combining that with the understanding of the suffering that is being experienced in the lower realms, it becomes, we will naturally give rise to the determination that now that I've achieved this opportunity, this precious opportunity, I will ensure that I utilize it well to close the door of possibility that could lead me to falling to such a situation myself. Moreover, now that I've achieved this precious human rebirth, I'm going to strive at my spiritual development, strive to turn away from non-virtue and cultivate virtue, so that I can be of ever greater benefit to others, so that I can be a positive influence on the lives of others, a positive influence on others, and thereby guide them to turning away from accumulating the causes that will potentially lead them to falling into the lower realms. So for these reasons, we need to come to understand well the situation in the lower realms.
Andrew Dunga Chida Yuna Seta Pitinala, Tangandro Sadi, Dunga Canisiore Lamda, Dela Uncle Mulurkis, that Carson Resine, Rabdo Sashin Tawayi, Nyava Nima, Chishin Cha, Tegum Dagi Ribayi, Ida Dayan Temperature, Mobi Dunga, Ramabi, Joson Dashin Temperature.
Now we started our text at the top of page 20. So at the top of the page 20 it says, what are the torments of the three lower realms? To quote Acharya Nagarjuna, remember that in the lower hells one burns like a sun, in the upper hells one freezes. Remember that pretas and spirits suffer from hunger, thirst and climate. Remember that animals suffer the consequences of stupidity. Abandon the karmic causes of such misery and cultivate the causes of joy. Human life is rare and precious. Do not make it a cause of pain. Take heed, use it well.
Na delaya garit sungore sene tanyawa ida dunjogi dungadi sungore.
In this quotation from Nagarjuna, he presents in brief the sufferings that are experienced in the lower realms of the beings in hell, in the spirit realms, and animals.
Rabdo Sashin Sedu, Zugi, Nyawa Dela, and Nyawa Sanya said, and Tanya said, Rikni Chene, and Nyawa Sanya Kiet, and Tanya Kies, and Denigi, and Juru Shigurwa, Chezan Yavi Rik Midal, San Masona, Juru Shigur, Chezan Rabdo Sashin, Tawa, Nyawa, Nima Chishin, Sedu Chezan, the Nyavi, Tanya Dungatiki, Yane to Tanya Dungatiki, some down, and then Yawa, Yon. First
three lines then relate to the sufferings being experienced in the hell realms. Remember that in the lower hells one burns like a sun, and in the upper hells one freezes. The hell realms can be divided into the hot hells, the 8 hot hells, and the 8 cold hells. And beings who are born into one of these experience tremendous suffering compounded by the fiery heat that's likened to a sun, or the freezing cold in the cold hells. So these first 3 lines then relate to the 8 hot hells and the 8 cold hells.
Nyawa Chanya se given that Jizan Bene Tower to your Chimbuche and the Jigim Jig Jagi Kangbaros and Jag Kangba Chasa Mebar to you again, and Dina Kambanan to do and me Sibi Kangada, and Dinigi Jig Susuna Jig me Tije and Bed Patan Menashi Mawash Mado and Menaji Bartigan, Gedi, that Jiggy, the same thing, Gero, Jayo, the Asasa, that didn't get Yagurot, the nigger down the Gil, then, some Jay Mahawa, my Patan, and Menaji Bartigan, the nigger Gangashu, it's how you do on young Wadi, the nigger Dunga, Semchen, that's how you do on young Rick, the Semchen, which you are Resurada, the Dunga together, how you do on the Yellow Tagu, the Tire Dandala, Dunga Dinis, your Resigurada.
Beings who are born in the hells, they endure unending, unceasing suffering. There's no respite from this coarse, manifest torture that they experience. And in these 8 hot hells and 8 cold hells, in the presentation, there's a vivid presentation on the sufferings that beings are experiencing, such as being trapped in a large flaming buildings, constructed from iron, so they're inescapable. But the beings are trapped inside this building, which is engulfed in flames. There are descriptions that in some of these hells, one cannot see any beings, just hear their cries of anguish. All one can make out visually here is flames, and from within the flames are beings crying out in torment. So there are many detailed descriptions of the tremendous suffering, the unceasing suffering that beings experience when born in the hell realms.
And Dimase, and the chick Sunshaki, Gamba Jabata, Lava Jabata, the Nigi Buru, the Nigga Soja Sayata, La Sopa, the Nika Mangoche, Nevi Tsanye Dunga, the Yoration, Chikshi, that dinner, Yawa Danya said, Be Mase Jangmo, Chane, Ganga, Chabi Ganga Dunga Shu, the Danya Sura, the Niki Chapa now, the Jin Pat and the Chapa Nashin, and the chick. Gidi another dress as our guinea mating Dunga Shu Yong driving Dunga said that driving Dunga Rigmambo and Shemo Chishiru Chishana Tigura.
And in other hells, there's the description of beings being crushed, beings being cut while still alive, and their limbs amputated repeatedly again and again. And in other types of hells, the beings there are being eaten alive. It's likened to being eaten by iron insects made from iron. So there's this vast description of suffering that beings experience, including then in the cold hells, where beings suffer from freezing conditions, unceasing freezing conditions, where their skin blisters and bursts from the cold.
Num Koma Shache, Yamashi Jodi, Duenche, Manum Koma, Lucia Gorova, Delia Sagorova, on the Super Chasan season, Num Koman, the Nig Korean Tower, the Nig Yungu Baza, Dina Shinda, Yovaro Sigo Chagorova, and the kissing on Zugida, Australia, Shina, me, Sion, Dina, the Semche, Chazan, Mecho, Baran Luf Chazan, Super Chazan, Mebaji, Season, the Nigi Ganga Dunga Yorova. The nigger Yungu body, Semjin Desolia, Manzu Dine Mevaji, Dunga Yungu, Sembe Samlo Yomar, how Google my Dine Yungu body, in an image Dine Yomar. Dineza, Manzuki Dine, some Davine, Tarazanga, Zungi, Sanya Dinidi, Yere Sempike, Matoma in there, Dine Yoyaki, Yobaro Chagorwa.
These descriptions of the suffering of the hells, it can be difficult to relate to, so one needs to use one's intelligence, and through one's own experiences come to gain a more personal, intimate relationship with what the presentation here. So we can think about the situation of what we've observed or heard about in the animal realm. So we know that in some restaurants, one can they'll have a tank with crayfish, and one can order the particular living being that one wants to eat, and then the staff will take that and boil it alive in the kitchen. Now that crayfish has no idea what fate awaits itself. All it knows is it's in a tiny tank, it can't move very much, and suddenly it's ripped from there, and then it experiences being cooked alive. Likewise, all those millions of animals, or billion animals that died in the bushfire recently, they were trapped in this fiery hell-like situation. There was nothing they could do. There was nowhere that they could turn. So through reflecting in what we can relate to from our own human experience, we can come to understand through this use of our intelligence, we can come to relate more intimately to the meaning that's presented in these texts.
Dinama Lu, Dinima, Chishi, Yansu, the Dushin, Dunga Pato Meba Yongkure Sada, Diningures and Pigata Samnatayada, the Nigawa Janyana Yapemasa Drang Chane, the next you got Chabe Jingi, the Shadipa, Chikiene, Ganga Yeduke, Dunga Pato Meba Yongures, and Dushin, Semje Rigan to me, Matoya, Semje Rik, the Nigi Dundu, Nyawabada, the Nigi Dunga Pato Yongo, Jore, Sambeyane, do something, that's in Yinji, that. So around sometime I didn't give any Dunga Mamba, the Diniki, Dunga Pato by Yongu, I didn't Dunga Dile, Manoyagi, that thing I touch you cover your decision. Dile Mauba Makia Tablam de Tati, the Chin, Sambegi, Samlodi, Shukchimoligo, Tamazuki, the Nigi Dungadi, some Tawaina, some Damne, or Mauban Dikina, the Nekanga Chigiri, Sambegi, the Inza, Matele, Tamatan, Tabmidu, Sambegi, Delege, Tarag, Taptic, Arjorson, Geju to be the lesson, Gewale Pizuchimochiada. That dancing Azuki, that Tabachimbi Chin Yamlin. To tell what Timby Yamlin Ching some Dawena, or the Niggy Duan Bess, I Ninji, I didn't come about me about Yungo, the Neza did Duati, the same gender you do Ninja, that only the Inza Duat Tagu Hudu, same gender you do the Tawadi, Niji, Sambegi, Semshukiada. That day, some gentlemen the new Duat Taja, the Niji, the Nijabala, Karja Horsena. You might have the Duma said to any your mother, and it's consular torch in a part to me, and Garcia or Lamna, Mahomban at the same gently, Telemagi, Tablam Dingy, now to Chia Cobiore. DJ Cob Carasene, or the Nangchu, Lobjong, DJ Deniki, the Dimaje said, Kozuki, Samba Sambochiata, giving Yamlin Chiala, Nanzuki Lopton Chia, Cohop Chitugo, Chisan DJ, DJ Bala, Sosorana, Yawashingo, Chisan Sanje Goba Matum, the Digimido, Chisan Semjen, Tamjiki, Sanje Goba Tomna, and then Semjel check and the Sungu, Dusuk and the Stingu, Pando Karachi, Chasa, how go to it, and Tintuba Jungo, Chenzang, Semjen, Tamjiki, Sanje Goba Matum, the Tabid, which is a new Dunga, but the Gilipa, Yoho Yang Taj and Tisuya, and Sanjis. Tarba Dunga Tada Dredge, Sanji Salago, the Inzang Sanjoko Toba Chigi and Sembege, the Nigi, and not to charge you same Giada, go up there, the Chago, Garson, Nevi Dunga, Samje, Nyaw, but the killing Ninja, the Dele Dunga Tagos, Ninja Semi Shuchimo Giado, and then Dele Tayage Tablamdi, Cheshe Hoade, Cheshe Bala, Sosorangi Yabo, Shimbache, and the Shehu, the Inzang Sanjoko Toba Chigi, Zibe, Chanju Sem Gomiala, Pando Chimbu, Dinza, Konyevi Dunga, the Motor Jelly, the Kimzano di Chagurwa.
Through reading and hearing these teachings and then reading the texts and particularly then reflecting on what's presented, reflecting on the sufferings that beings are experiencing right now in for example, the cold hells, where beings are tormented by pain, their skin is blistering and bursting open from the tremendous cold that they're experiencing, and others in the hell realm, in the hot hells, who are trapped in fiery landscapes, unable to escape ever, and just take and just continuously suffer pain there without it ever ceasing for a moment, and other beings who are cut and who have their limbs amputated alive. And then we can also take our understanding of what we perceive in the sufferings of that animals are also experiencing right now. We reflect on all these sufferings, and undoubtedly it will have a marked impact on our mind. And the purpose for this meditation is primarily, it's twofold. The purpose of this meditation is twofold. One, a sense of terror will arise within ourselves, thinking, how would I cope if I was born in such a situation? And the purpose of that thought is then to make the commitment that now that we have achieved this precious human rebirth, I must be sure not to let it go to waste. I must use whatever remains of this life well and ensure that my mind is always in a virtuous direction. And if I notice it going in a non-virtuous direction, to pull it back to virtue. I do not want to create a single cause that can potentially lead to rebirth in the lower realms, but rather strive to accumulate virtue. The second purpose of this reflection comes from the perspective of the Mahayana Dharma. That when this strong emotion arises within ourselves for the beings who are suffering in this way right now, this will lead to a great strength of mind. A strength of mind knowing that these beings who are suffering are kind mothers from our past lives, and they are now suffering torment after torment in the lower realms. Thinking like this then leads to an even more powerful commitment to ensure that we help them. And the way to help them is to become the most skilled of guides, to become a Buddha, because the most the only being that is really skilled to help beings in accordance with their own individual personalities is a Buddha. Because the best way to help a being is that when a being is not suffering in the lower realms and has intelligence and has freedom and opportunities, to guide them in their spiritual development, to teach them, to guide them in a way that is best in accordance with their personality, what is non-virtuous, and why and how to turn away from it. What is virtue? Why virtue needs to be accumulated and how to do so. In other words, one needs to become a Buddha so that one can teach the Buddha Dharma to beings in accordance with their own unique personalities. And it's through reflections such as these on the sufferings of beings in the lower realms that one's complacency will be shattered. One will come to see with vivid clarity the urgency of the situation, come to see the great urgency with which we must approach our spiritual development, and turn away from laziness and strive to develop spiritually so that we can be of great benefit to others.
Ida da jan tempera ches da ida se de me chikpe roto ne dunga roto bi dunga ne je kyabe dunga yungure roto bi dunga to ne roto bi pe chen to dunga yores chesa denigi ida dige dunga dige pa denigi tempera che hores ida gi dunga samda da kashi ida kashi roto pe shu to ida le rig mongbu yose ida de sede che dige o sede yuan dige 사야 도야를 미기 통과 때에 사도야면 사야라고 잠잠 통과로 통에 제지 두선 저도 내려하는 세대 매바 차로 변의 신도로 통해도 다른 것 변의 신도로 통 저것도 배 저것도 변의 신도도 사가 저제 신도 담들리도 신도 매바 차로 거를 아니 주로 통 당번에 가시고 검대도 변의 취지 체도 취 통하도 된 바조셔도 양 취지 매바 깜보로 통 되되시다 소리 쳐야 되게 돼 아직 제로 니에 제 미상화 쪽바로 니 디야바 자여도 가시 이다 가시나 카페 충충마도 매 카나는 바 마취 때때시 카나는 저번에 미발에 매바 제 깜치지네 자기네 메디가 아니 이다 교화되기 가고 싶어서 직기네 미크로 통고만 통해요만 통고만 진득이 이달에 제공이 동아요래서 다디 디시아도 당아서 가르삼 땅고서는 다디니가 아제 다 눈쪽이 이다 직 데니게 오네다네 사야도에 메토야 강아시우요래 닌자 선배기다 데니게 닌지네 데니게 동아들레다 타고도 선배 만서 셈슈기야 되다 셈슈기 동아들 마탄 탑면도 네 동아데 타야디 땅이 톱시 제제 네 견렌징이 톱시기 디인장이 셈제 탐지게 된다 디스 동아데 이 교부이 디교베 된다는 산조 법아 토바지 인세베 누치네 삼다양아 자주 셈게야리야 안데디 동아에 나 인지게 델리안 타르게 타고도 제산 델레 타야 돼 녜지기 인삼 디인장에 산주고만 토바지기 인삼베게 안도스네 삼다하다 야 데니기 동아디게 나서는 오다 나디게와 있는다 동아 빠도 매번 용고리 제산 동아 용원에 소소 동아 데니게 깔래 잡되면 시안라 판도체 투사 말에 제산 시안라 판도 제발라 데니기 동아 마녀 소소라랑게 소소라랑 안되스 탕보다 야고시고 제가 미마오바나 데네들 마기야지 셴기 셴라 파도 주야당 셴이 심제 탐주 강아세야다 사유고바 토발라 아니 게조 야고주에 땡켜바지 마토바 있는데 데네를 깨는데 뺏사사래 가고 갑시고 쇼사래 삼제 안 데네기 아주 게주주야 어두스네 가제 이다게 동아 삼다기 다 이다게 동아냐와다 이다게 동아 삼다에 그거 김선대 가려놨나 아주 델레 타야게 탑람 베주시야다 셈전 탐지게 델레 타지 산주고바 토야게 베주시야기 삼르디게 된다라 시고로.
Looking back at the text, Nagarjuna now talks about the sufferings of pretas. Remember that pretas and spirits suffer from hunger, thirst and climate. So if you're using this in your meditation, so the term remember you can understand as recall. So first you recall the sufferings in the hell realms, then you recall the sufferings of pretas and spirits. So the suffering that the beings within the spirit realm called pretas, that they experience is primarily tremendous hunger and thirst that's insatiable. So there are many varieties of beings that are pretas. Some, they suffer in that they can never find any food or drink despite their strong, the immense hunger and thirst. Others, they will find food and drink, and then with this great desire within them, because of their hunger and thirst, they will rush to where perhaps they will see fruit on trees laden with fruit, but before they get to the trees, the fruit withers and dies, and there's nothing for them to eat. Or if they see water, rushing for the water, it evaporates by the time they leave, and their need for food and drink is never satisfied. Others, one can say are slightly more fortunate. They do find food, but the only food they find is perhaps spit or some phlegm. But because of their tremendous hunger, they will scoop up the phlegm, but that dries in their flaming throat, their burning throat, and never even makes it down to their belly. So even though the food is something repulsive, but because of their great need, they will consume this. But it doesn't even slightly alleviate their suffering. So there are these and many other sufferings that are experienced in the preta realm. The way, though, that we should approach this reflection, just like with the previous meditation on the hell realms, is we go through the meditation, we reflect on how these beings are suffering right now. The first point then is to relate to it as if it was ourselves. And it will be very clear that this is suffering that we could not experience. So therefore we have to turn away from all forms of non-virtue and ensure we strive in this life to accumulate virtue so that we don't create causes for such a rebirth. And then we can then combine that as we go to the second step, that of cultivating compassion for the beings there. Remind ourselves that should we fall into any of the lower realms, because of the strength of suffering, that suffering dominates the mind so that it is near impossible to work for the welfare of others, or to be of benefit to others if one is born in the lower realms. Even whatever wish we have to be of benefit to others right now, whatever wish we have right now to benefit others, we will not be able to replicate if we are born in the lower realms. So therefore, for the sake of others, we have to ensure we are not born in the lower realms. And moreover, for those beings who are suffering there now, for those precious mother sentient beings who are suffering in this way right now, those beings who do not have the luxury to only encounter such suffering through reflection, but who are actually experiencing it, for their sake, we need to strive to become a skilled practitioner and eventually become a Buddha. Through reflecting on the suffering of others, compassion will naturally arise within us. We take that compassion and we develop it ever stronger, so that we develop the altruistic attitude of universal responsibility, where we take it as our own individual responsibility to guide beings to ensure they do not fall into the lower realms. And to be able to guide beings most skillfully, we commit to becoming a Buddha for their sake. In this way, we use this meditation to generate bodhicitta. So this is the purpose of these meditations, to commit to striving, to accumulate virtue and turn away from non-virtue for whatever remains of this life, for the sake of others.
Dadine dundugi dunga shigore, mobi dunga rabmawi, and Joson Tashin temper chas. That dundu said Nyawa Bada, Yida, this and then just Dumdere, Durotilia, and the Jig, Kalasa, Yeti, and the Hornzuki, Caricinatus, Yahashiraya, Ina, Dunrotilia, Dunga Patumeva Yores, and then Momba, Dunrotilia, Digene, Diakore, Digene, Duares, and Big Sierra, and Javachegi, the Hakutu, Marcape, Dunga Yovache, Momba. 뭔가 톰디게 제거 하고 와지 제거 집에 내게 미기 지게 주로지네 지나다 안지 봐 지매지 봐 줘요도 갑라 어다들 줘고 선비기 요디 갑라 아직 지대로는 나서 다서 되네 야가도 선비기 제가 제바지 마신 바다 제가 눈으로서데 뭔가 내수요 이제 이 야니 예와 체마시바 뭔가 쉬우요레스 뭔배 동아 안디긴제네 동아 바도메 봐 용고레스 지산디네 인자 잼비기 dunro야 dunga dinde yore saachida dunro nalanga ji mangwa shewene dunro nala ji dunroya migi sebi dunga ane khoro ji ji la sue sare che dunga anji chunala deojine chukamrowe dunga andeleya ji nyaji la samdawa da delya khop trap paadme bayo ane ji semjen roji dindigi inza da dunga paadme bayo dige 당아 주게 사가나 통도와 중국도 semjen 가시 추나 전에 강벌라고 담제 바미 수 뉘에서 사간 말아봐도 담제는 샤르 디니기 동아 강아 여러와다 타야 메디겐 디니기 동아 여래 진짜 dunru기 동아 야 디니디 여래 선배게 삼다 디니 삼다네 안다 나비기 김제 삼다네 당와든 가르쳐고래라면 대신일 셰바나르지 동아를 깨봐 이나 당 알아서 동아 깨봐 동아 빠도면 받는 용고도 디니기 동아 용아 semjen데 인자 sembe 코도 동아 디니 용고도 인제사 건설에 인지 고미하다 제가 semjen 탐제 디니 동아 인지 고미 디니 semjen 탐제 소소나진 대화 되바 동아 미도바 지바레 코조에 대화 되고 이나 대화 민도 다 건설 동아 고고 말때 동아지 나 되샤 진짜 동아 델레 사회 탑시데 게 제고도 sembe게 소소야 하삼 남다 sem기 게다 디던다 디인장이 동아세에 돈달라 메사지고 고마도나 탑민도 sembe 사지고 고마도베지야 안다 당이 건주 동아세야랴 탑론 제로 소소라가 마음바나 디니기 동아디 깨와 말렘 받다든 토시 맞아바이나 나데 건주 나신 동아 두두 깨와 렘바이나 데 동아 디나신 냥 되오래 동아 디니시 냥바인 냥 되디 갑라 nga shalya pheba che go go gyneyo mares chesa dini insa ngi shalya dunga se ata shengi digi duyal ya ni sanju ko ba thogu de che de lo thomane muti ni nyamlen che go insa kyo chimana sunga nga so de ma ye gi ani tablamde dadini beji chigi yin sambege anga so samno di tang ga de chago dunga yu dunga dundu dunga sam ta ne de la de ne tanga so samna na ye de di chago.
Nagarjuna continues now with the animal realm. Recall that animals suffer the consequences of stupidity. So animals too suffer in many ways, and this is despite their situation being far better than that of spirits or hell beings, because generally they at least can get, compared to the predators, they can get food, and their suffering isn't nearly as intense as hell beings. But amongst the various sufferings that animals do experience, perhaps or one of the most severe is their lack of intelligence. The animals are just like us in wanting to experience only happiness and wanting to be freed from suffering, but due to their strong ignorance, their lack of intelligence, they are very limited in what they can do to resolve their problems, to free themselves from even the coarsest of difficulties. And this is, of course, aside from the subtler solutions to their problems that humans can engage in, such as coming to understand the causes of suffering and thereby what activities to abandon, and come to understand the causes of happiness and thereby what minds to cultivate within oneself. Humans can understand this without too much difficulty, but animals cannot. They have no hope of understanding what should be adopted and abandoned. They struggle just to overcome the coarsest of sufferings. But not only do animals suffer due to their great stupidity, but they are also abused by humans, taken advantage of humans, mistreated by humans, killed and eaten by humans, killed while still alive and eaten alive by others, by other animals. So these we need to reflect on, and also reflect on what we have perhaps observed directly ourselves. In some parts of the world, you can go to markets and you can buy animals that are still alive to take home, to slaughter and eat. And you'll see people there who probably work in restaurants buying many animals which they will take to their restaurant, slaughter, and to feed people. So these animals are bound in these markets. They can't run away. They're filled with terror, but there's nothing they can do. They don't understand the situation. They have no idea what they can do. All they know is they want to be freed of suffering. So through reflecting on these very real situations that so many beings are experiencing right now, again we go through the same process as with the former two steps in the meditation. First, we reflect on it on a personal level. How could I cope if I am born there in my next life? How could I cope with such suffering? And then the second part of that, if I am born there, any aspiration that I have now in this life to be of benefit to others, I would have no hope to be of benefit to others if I am born in such a way, in such a life. And then the second part of the meditation is, beings are suffering in this way right now. It's my responsibility to help them, to take this compassion that I feel within myself now and develop this into the attitude of altruism, of universal responsibility, and commit to becoming a Buddha for their sake. Because whilst we need to do whatever we can for others, in particular we need to do what is most beneficial, and that's to guide beings, to turn away from non-virtue, and to accumulate virtue, and thereby ensure they achieve good rebirths. So this meditation is done in the same way as the previous two.
Tungatikidu samtane anda garchorelana disuda degyun nampang degyuchi degyun nampang degyun nampang sidu desuke yudi papang urela nyawa ida dundole ki yudi pameba so bangures degyun nampangas chesa de pangwaina sosogi dinyamne je pangwaina deleki mares tungati yongku mares andinaje degyun nampang sosogi ne nyawada ida dundro ye gyudi garin bade gyugane chine 기고래 제자디 gyudi pa bang고래 제자 yen 심전 탐주 동을 저하게 탑람 제도 gyudi 콘졸이야 안두스 bang고래서 롭된 제제 방주고래 소소게 탑시제 배제제 현들이야 롭된 제야당 간에스네 코디 제하게 돈달라 바야게 돈라 탑람 판도 간에스 용구도 선 배제제 장주기 도 제바이네 소소이네 규바야다 현래이나 디 방주지 방주바이나 나라선 차상마 고 예위게 냐와다 이다 dunjole ki mare ma ke ba ne di tunga de yong go mare desa di kyu pang go re sa chi.
The text then continues, showing here part of the meditation that one engages in. Abandon the karmic causes of such suffering, cultivate the causes of joy. So here in the meditation one is reflected on the sufferings that beings are experiencing right now and potentially await ourselves and our loved ones and all other human beings. Reflecting then in this way, we commit to turning away from the cultivation of causes that could lead to such suffering, and rather commit to striving to cultivate the causes that lead to continued spiritual development. So through reflecting on the lower realms, we give rise to a great strength of mind to finally abandon and turn away from all our harmful habitual ways of acting, and rather to make effort to strengthen all our virtuous habitual ways of acting. And we do so not only for our own benefit, but through having cultivated compassion and made our mind more expansive by reflecting on the suffering that others are experiencing, we commit to develop spiritually so that we can be of greatest benefit to them. Because the best way that we can benefit others is through initially striving to develop ourselves so that we gain experience of turning away from the causes that lead to suffering. We gain experience of cultivating ever more powerful causes that lead to happiness. And as we spiritually develop, not only gaining knowledge but also experience, we then can become ever more skilled in guiding others. In guiding others, as we become more skilled, guiding others in accordance with their own personalities, and thereby help others to not accumulate the causes that will lead them to fall to the lower realms, but rather to accumulate the causes for lasting happiness. So what we're doing in these reflections is developing our outlook, making our mind much more expansive, looking beyond this life, looking at future lives, looking beyond ourselves, looking at the situation of others, and developing spiritually not just for benefits now, but so that we can continue life after life in our spiritual development and continue to be of ever greater benefit to others. Here, in this segment, these two lines, you can see that we're combining both of these, the abandonment of the causes of suffering, as well as cultivating the causes of happy migrations or causes of joy.
Milu Rinpoche Topkawa Be, Milu Rinpoche Topkawa Shiure, Chesan Zambuling be Milu Rinpoche Topkaware, Chesan Topkawadi, that the Toby doing another top deore, Chesan that the Toby do de la yang, Manson Manson Gay Gudi, Bezu Chene Bango, Maki Gay Gudipa, Meva so gores, Yamaki. Du savane di sopa meva soyata momba na ki ma chege besu chedi dati ko hob yores chesanga dati ngado denju milu moche top de du su dela ma sonsum de ma ki gudi meva soyata rangshen chama ane nga som yu ma ki gu meva soyata gu ma ki ge besu chela toshia yor tedensa dele rabdu tim de si de be ribu tim chen da diring de maje bana ki che sambege jene dirin go up yobatila den jigin se be semshu parche dusine be jeje nga so ye gyudi pa myawa so kaya ta mo ba ki ma jya ani nyema ki mo be nyema na so gyu ro che dibaro sawai ne de so ba nyebo to shu ko ni sha ya tang mo ba na de ki ma jyu be jeje ho re sa chi sungdo.
And the verse ends with, human life is rare and precious. Do not make it a cause of pain. Take heed, use it well. Here we explicitly see how this meditation builds on the meditations that we looked at last year. This precious human rebirth that is so difficult to achieve and rare, we ourselves have achieved, all of us. In our past lives we accumulated the causes, and now we have experienced the result. We are experiencing the result. We have achieved a human rebirth that is precious. So we have the ability to achieve the causes that lead to good rebirths, and we know this because we are experiencing the result right now. So therefore, knowing how precious this rebirth is, we must ensure that we use what remains of this life to accumulate those causes that will ensure good rebirths in our future lives. And we need to do this because on the one hand, we understand through this meditation the suffering that beings are experiencing in lower realms. And if we were to fall there, we too would experience such suffering. Moreover, because the beings, those countless beings who are suffering suffering unceasingly in the lower realms, have been our kind mothers in the past, we have to strive in our spiritual development so that we can have a greater impact on beings, that we can help beings, in particular help beings turn away from non-virtue, help beings understand what is virtue, and to accumulate those causes, the causes of happiness. So we use this meditation to make our mind ever more strong and powerful, commit to accumulating virtue, and purifying previously accumulated non-virtue, committing to no longer accumulate any non-virtue, but rather to strive for the welfare of others.
dunga pato me ba yede cheza deni dunga digel pa tar gudu sim deni ge dunga nyong deni simje mangu jore samda che desu chaza dunga nyong be ba ningja sembi kan zu dele ya mi be ningje de dan de 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 simje deni ge dunga digel chaza da dana sembi ge ningje ko mi ada simje temje deni ge simje de dunga da chaje digi de juna sho sho samje ane jamba ko mi ya deni ge simje dige chaza ra ya 진체보 깨진 체보래 다른 아주기 명호의 신고 말 통해 통고 말 하고 말 이나야 대수 심진 빠도면 소소기 다 진체보다 소소리야 깨진 체보 빼마세 깨진 체보래 데네 자 데니게 동아 요 유디베 갑라 디링에 난 심제 탐지게 동아 대수 대하다 디기 주야기 된다라 아니 비스 지기 아니 지기 대장의 심제 탐지 산조고 바마토나 탑면도 산조고 바토 쇼 심비게 안자주심 고미하다 안디니게 삼다제 데니게 동아 녀야게 심제레 된 동아 용고래 제대 두스네 아직 제바 진의 땡진 저와 두 다선 집에서나 뭐 얘네 윤내님이 돼 동사지 동비 고 라신이 마두바데 라신 마두바다 다선 집에서나 라라 나와나시 주요 말했어 제가 고 유어주고 유어조 완장이 냠는 제바이네 고도 유어당 투에 예버렸어 유어당 투어데 되네장이 도치네 심자 탐지 동하다 다와쇼 세메 잠님주고 안디네게 곰네 동하다 다와데 니치기 디엔자 심자 탐지도 사요고 바토버쇼 셈베게 다 토버쇼 세메 자주 셈곰 디네게 곰네다 심자데 사요고 바토발라 아니 유 마사발라 야 토버쇼 선바점지야 사요고 바토토에 메바레 디엔장에 산조고 바토에 돈달라 아니 집에 냠네 자 수르 소야 류가 이수미 돈달라 류가 이수미 예제 도미야다 시한리야 펜비게 간네 토네 펜비 자와 간네 두기나 두기 선베게 도시는 아주 두 삼로 따야디 삼로 자야디 계치 뭐 슈차고로 다디네게 삼로디 하나에 양도도 따야디 먼저 차상게다 디링기 다냐 저기 친연집에게 삼마다데 주돔 디네게 삼다데레샤 디네자 마도디 하나에 양도 따야디 계치 뭐 차고로
To summarize in what we've looked at tonight, we've spoken about the sufferings that beings are experiencing in the lower realms right now. In terms of the lower realms, we have only direct experience of many types of animals, but the animal realm is much broader than what we have knowledge of. And then there are far more beings suffering in the spirit and hell realms than there are amongst animals. So we need to reflect on the sufferings that are being experienced by beings there, so as to generate compassion for them. So this is the purpose of this meditation, and it's why it's such an important meditation to do. And as one reflects on the suffering that beings are experiencing, one combines it with one's previous meditations on bodhicitta, reflecting that these beings that are suffering aren't just some abstract other, but we have a close and intimate relationship with them. Certainly not in this life, but in a past life. In a past life, we would have had a relationship of parent and child. And in a past life, they would have shown us tremendous kindness. And now they are suffering, now they are in pain. Thinking like this, compassion will arise for them. And especially when we're relating to them in a more personal, relating to these suffering beings in a more personal way, the ever stronger wish, may they be freed of suffering, will arise. We can combine that with the mind of love, the wish, may they experience only happiness, not only freed of suffering, but may they also experience only happiness. Using those minds of love and compassion, we then generate the altruistic attitude, taking it as our personal responsibility to ensure that we cultivate qualities of sufficient strength, that we can skillfully guide the vast variety of beings, guide them in terms of how to cultivate the causes for happiness and eliminate and turn away from the causes that only lead to suffering. In this way we use this meditation on the sufferings of the lower realms to generate bodhicitta. And in the meditation, when you've generated bodhicitta, then I'd encourage you then thereafter to take your understanding on emptiness, especially if you attended the teachings on dependent arising, to use your understanding there as well, reflecting that suffering that is experienced is dependent arising, and therefore empty of inherent existence, as are the causes of suffering that have been accumulated. So this means suffering itself is empty of inherent existence, so too are the causes. The causes therefore can be eliminated. The causes for happiness are empty of inherent existence, therefore they can be accumulated. Everything that appears to our mind doesn't exist in the way that it appears, because it appears inherently existent when it is not so. And through this reflection, this gives us a strength of mind, courage, to turn away from our own non-virtuous ways of thinking, seeing that these lack inherent existence and therefore they have no power from their own side. And rather, the virtuous minds, which too lack inherent existence and therefore can be cultivated and made ever stronger, we have the courage that we can develop minds of love and compassion to the point where bodhicitta arises within us. In this way, we use this meditation to reflect on first on the sufferings of the lower realms, then generate compassion on bodhicitta, and then reflect on emptiness. In this way, through these reflections, we come to accumulate the causes that will lead to Buddhahood, cultivate the accumulation of wisdom as well as the accumulation of merit. In this way, we're accumulating the causes that will lead to enlightenment. And we're doing so not just for our own betterment, but with this vast and expansive mind, with this far-sighted outlook that we've generated here. We strive to use what remains of this life well for the sake of others. So thank you. We'll finish here for now, and then we'll resume from here next week. Thank you.